Welcome back, champions. Today we dive deep into the topic of anger, a force that can consume us or propel us toward greatness. We will explore how to not only understand and control this primal emotion, but to transform it into a powerful tool for constructive action, using ancient Stoic wisdom. By the end of this journey, you will have the practical Stoic techniques you need to turn anger into an ally, not an adversary. Anger, we all know it. It's a fire that can burn uncontrollably, scorching everything in its path. Yet how often do we stop to examine its root and its power over us? The Stoics, masters of controlling the inner world, offer us a blueprint, a way to understand this force, to manage it, and ultimately to channel it in ways that serve our highest purpose. The truth is, anger is not inherently bad. It is simply a response, a reaction, an emotion we all feel at times. Yet, like any powerful tool, it requires wisdom and precision to wield it correctly. The Stoics teach us that we are not slaves to our emotions. Instead, we are the masters of them. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively on anger. He recognized it as an emotion that can cripple us if left unchecked, but he also believed in its potential for transformation. Anger, he claimed, arises when we feel wronged, insulted, or thwarted. But he also said something far more profound. No man is free who is not master of himself. And in that mastery, the Stoics found a path not just to control anger, but to use it as fuel for personal growth and purposeful action. This is where the challenge lies for us. When anger arises, how often do we rush to react? How often do we let it take over and act as though it controls us? We may shout, act impulsively, or even ruin relationships, only to regret our actions later. The Stoics' path is one of conscious response, not reaction. We feel anger, but we do not let it command our actions. Consider Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher. In his discourses, he reflects on anger and its role in the life of a Stoic. He writes, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and reflect in what way you are guilty." This is a call to introspection, an invitation to pause and examine what in us is being triggered, rather than placing the blame on others. By adopting this practice, we break free from the cycle of reactive behavior and shift toward proactive mastery, regaining control over our emotional responses. Let's take a moment to think about how we typically handle anger. Do we allow it to dominate us? Do we lash out, or do we embrace the pause that Stoicism demands? A true Stoic does not suppress anger or pretend it doesn't exist. Instead, they acknowledge its presence without judgment, then make the conscious decision to transform that energy. Epictetus argued that our power lies not in controlling the world, but in controlling our responses to it. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In other words, anger is not the problem. Our reaction to it is where the real danger lies. This is a critical lesson, one that changes everything. The Stoic transforms the emotion of anger by rethinking it, not as a threat, but as an opportunity. The first step in transforming anger is awareness. This is where many fail. Anger often builds silently, and before we realize it, we have exploded, leaving destruction in our wake. A Stoic, however, remains vigilant. We must recognize the early signs of anger, catch the first spark before it turns into a blaze. This requires deep self-awareness and a commitment to self-reflection. In Seneca's letters, he teaches us that when we feel anger rising, we should take a moment to pause and ask, is this truly worth my energy? This simple question forces us to step back, to see the situation from a different perspective. Are we overreacting? Is this really the battle worth fighting? The moment we ask ourselves this question, we begin to regain control. But awareness is only the beginning. Once we catch ourselves, we need a plan for how to act. Marcus Aurelius, again, gives us insight, suggesting that we focus on our duties and obligations as a form of mental discipline. Anger, when harnessed properly, can motivate us to act with precision and purpose. When anger is about something external, it is often irrational. But when we direct our energy toward our personal goals, we can channel the power of anger into something far more productive. In the midst of anger, the Stoic asks, "What is the most constructive thing I can do right now?" It could be an act of self-discipline, choosing to walk away, choosing to speak calmly, or choosing to transform the energy into something creative, like physical exercise or focused work. This is the art of turning negative emotion into positive action. This is not a simple task. To master anger, we need patience, consistency, and the courage to confront our own weaknesses. It means choosing to not let others control our emotional state. The power lies within us, in how we choose to respond to life's challenges. As we reflect on the Stoic approach to anger, let's consider one final principle. The Stoics encourage us to live in harmony with nature, and that includes understanding the nature of our own emotions. Anger is natural, but it is only destructive when we act impulsively, when we let it govern our thoughts and behaviors. By mastering anger, we align ourselves with nature's order, using the emotional energy to serve us, not hinder us. The next time anger strikes, remember this: you are not a slave to your emotions. You are the master. Recognize it, reflect on it, and then decide how to use it. In the words of Epictetus, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Here lies the crux of Stoic philosophy: self-discipline and focus. Anger, like all emotions, can either be our downfall or our stepping stone. The more we embrace the Stoic practices of mindfulness, reflection, and deliberate action, the more we are equipped to transform anger into fuel for progress. When we cease to let anger control us, we move toward a life of freedom. Freedom from the whims of emotions, freedom to act with clarity, and freedom to achieve our highest potential. Now imagine for a moment what it would be like to walk through your day with this level of control, to face challenges head-on, without letting anger cloud your judgment, without allowing it to destroy relationships or derail your progress. This is the life of a Stoic, calm, collected, and always focused on the bigger picture. When we transform anger into constructive action, we unlock our true potential. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This simple action helps you take control over the content you consume and supports your journey toward mastering your mind and life. Also, explore our other videos for more ancient wisdom that will help you develop your masculinity and strength. Until next time, champions, stay strong and stay committed to your path.